This is an incredible story because a Minnesota district attorney just came out and stated that she wants prosecutors to use race, in other words, color, when making plea deals, which is blatantly unconstitutional. Watch this video.
Jonathan, I want to get your take on this one more thing before we go here. The Minneapolis Attorney's Office apparently wants prosecutors there to consider race as part of their thought process, decision-making when negotiating plea deals. Now, this is the Hennepin County Attorney, Mary Moriarty. As you know, she was elected, after the George Floyd riots, during that progressive movement, to put in DAs and attorneys that would be a little bit more lenient. I imagine you have a lot of thoughts on this.
Well, she's ripping the blindfold off Lady Justice. And the whole idea of justice is that it is supposed to be blind. It's supposed to be based on the facts of the case. It's supposed to make victims not whole, but at least give them some vindication or some assistance for what was done to them. And this is, I think, going to really force the issue again, not just with the administration, but with the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just said not long ago that in college admissions, when you rely on race criteria, you're engaging in racial discrimination. And that's an even greater concern when we have race criteria being used in this way in the criminal justice system.
I wonder if this came up when she decided not to go after a Walt staffer who apparently allegedly vandalized a Tesla vehicle, or at least 6 of them. So I wonder if that was part of the thought process there. Jonathan Turley, thanks so much for joining us.
Quite an amazing story, and I hope you feel the same way. Bear in mind, as a little bit of background, she's from Hennepin County, which is Minneapolis. So you're talking 1.3, 1.4 million people. That's a huge chunk of the state of Minnesota. And this lady, Democrat, of course, wants race, color being used by prosecutors in their plea deals. This is incredibly unconstitutional. We'll have to see where it goes from there. Hopefully, she is politely, legally put in her place, and that is not allowed to happen. It's just an incredible violation of the Constitution. And I'll say something else. I guarantee you that people opposed to what she's saying are going to be called the R word. It's going to come up again. And what she's doing is knowingly going out there and saying to people she thinks are oppressed and saying, I'm going to defend you, the oppressed. And those awful bad oppressors, I'm going to teach them a lesson. That whole oppressor and oppressed thing is actually critical theory. And everybody needs to understand critical theory comes from Marxism. You can go ahead and look it up. The other thing that's really important to focus on are local elections. And I've said this in other videos. I'll say it again in this one. Local elections are critically important, and Republicans need to do an infinitely better job of paying attention to them. I'm talking town, county, township, sheriff, school board, district attorney. I know a lot of people, especially Republicans, when those elections come out, they're like, nah, it's no big deal. It's just my town. It's just my county. It's just a sheriff. It doesn't really matter. We really have to retrain our brains and understand these local elections are critically important. And I understand the federal elections are important too, but please just put that in your brain and just understand we all have to reprioritize and put more emphasis and attach more importance to these local elections. Hope you enjoyed the video. If so, give it a thumbs up. Want to see more like it, subscribe. And if you want to get the word out about a district attorney in Minnesota using race, in other words, color, on plea deals, by all means, share it. As always, until next time, God bless. Love y'all.